Gimel. Aseres b'nei Haman tzorach l'kosem keshira. If you ever look in the Megillah, the 10 sons of Haman, it's written like a shira, like a song, meaning it's like 2 columns. Lokshar shiro shechelek al gabi ksav, cholok al gabi ksav. Like if you look in the Torah, you have the shira, those yoshir, you have a blank, but underneath it's like laying bricks. Cholok means it's blank. On top of, you have let's say a word. In between you have a space. Under that blank, you have a word. That's cholok al gabi ksav. Elamniach cholok ben ksav l'ksav. Here you have 2 vertical columns of 2 words, and the space goes from top all the way down to the bottom. From lok osakain psula. And if it's not written this way, the Megillah is not valid. It has to be written this way. The shira of the Aseres b'nei Haman has to be written this way. Gimel. No. Meniach cholok. Now, how wide does that space have to be? Kiflaim min aksav. That is, as whatever space the writing takes, the space in between the words is double what the words are. That's the size of the space of the blank. Tzorach laharich bivov de Vaizoso. Vaizoso was one of the sons of Haman. He had 10 sons. The vav of Vaizoso is elongated. Bichsivoso, yeshom bikrioso. Even when you say Vaizoso, you emphasize the vav vai. Vaizoso. So chlichtov ish barosh tapo, ve'es besofo. Ish is at, ish is written at the beginning of the column, and the ace at the end. Let's see, Mishna Berura. Dark b'vav de Vaizoso libtoach rosha hakofuf tia ke'en zekufa. I mean, what differentiates between a vav? A vav has, it's not just a straight line. A vav has like a head to it. It goes off to the left. So it's elongated more. Or the Ramei shenitlu kulam b'skifachas, to indicate that when they were hanged, it was like in one vertical column, one was on top of the other. That's the vav indicate. That's zekifa. Zekifa means it's elongated.
Well, why this particular son?
Kriyos shel yachtovoso. Kriyoso, a sofa, pirish, sofa shita, sofa daf yichtov, tebes aseres, the Avin will herich, b'vaizoso. Let's see, he didn't write vaizoso differently, v'chenim kosav, acher tebas aseres, ochitos, kosher yishmachim, shkosav, tebas aseres, ochitos, sherfraim simnun dal, kosav, yesha, Megillah acheres, ksuva kedino, that if you have another Megillah that's written properly in likros bezod lechatchilo, b'tzibur, im lo sheish torach tzibur lahamtin at she'avia ksuva kedino. Unless it's a tirchut tzibur, until you locate another Megillah, yichon likros bezod. You use this one. Okay. In Tfora b'chutei pishton psula, we say that the Megillah has to be written identically as the Sefer Torah. The parchment, the ink, and now when you stitch the various pieces of parchment together, you have to do it with gut. You can't use linen threads, just as the Sefer Torah. If you sew the various sections together with linen, it's not valid. Identically, the Megillah has to be sewn with what? With the gut. In Tfora, halach lo mishum Sinai. It's all given at Sinai. Im hitel bo shlosha chutei gidim kshero. Ubavachi mishloshos. If you use 3 chutei gidim, gid is the sinew, but it has to be spaced in thirds. Mnei sheyesh bo pirushim shonim tzarich lotzi stei kulam v'yeseh sholosh tfiros berosho, sholosh besofa, sholosh b'mtziso. You put 3 stitches on top, 3 stitches in the middle, 3 stitches at the end. Utfira achas b'haravi mitzad zeh, tfira achas b'charavi mitzad zeh. Tzara acher. Hagovim ein lo gidim yoser. Let's say we say you stitch the top and the bottom. He says, let's say a person is limited on how much gut he has. Mutav litvar anish b'chutei pishtom lichob l'tfira. Let's say it's like loosely on top it's open and the bottom it's open, and you want to secure it with what? Like with a stitch. With a stitch, you could even use a linen thread. Does not, because since it's not mikar adin, it's only that it should be more neat. Therefore, you could even use a linen thread. Litvar nishma chudik bishla nicha b'lo tfira avol nim yeshlo gidim yitvar kula begidim. But if you have enough gut, all the stitching should be done with the gut. V'atfira tia b'bachutz lo b'fnim. It should be stitched from the outside, not from the inside. It's in Mishna Berura. Barosha shall call Uriah v'Uriah v'aychayod because dim tfura kula begidin. Ain't tzorach ledagde kamet tfiros. He says if you use gut, it doesn't make a difference how many stitches. Mechelek haravi kitzorach l'shar Uriah la'arbo chalokim. You divide into 4 parts, and you have 3 stitches, 3 stitches, 3, and on top and the bottom. Okay. Tzorach l'shir b'rosh ha'Uriah b'sofo kshetov from yachad u'mashum sagi. You have to leave. You don't stitch it at the very top, the very bottom. It's slightly, there's part of the parchment which is not stitched. Understand? It's not you sew it straight to the top. But rather, you can actually separate the parchment top and the bottom in terms of each section. And Korah b'tziba Megillah aksuva bein haksuvim. Tim Korah l'yotze. It's Gemara Megillah. Like, today, they have a Koran Chumash. Tanakh is printed in 1 volume. What about if a person goes and writes Tanakh? Or let's say all the Megillahs on one piece of parchment. Right? It's like 1 roll. And you read, you have all the 5 Megillahs written on 1 parchment, and you want to read Megillah Esther. You're not Yotzei. Why does that be separate? Because the emphasis of Megillah Esther is pursuing Nisa. It has to be obvious to everyone that there's something unique about this particular Megillah. So it's not enough that you read from it. Visually, you have to see that this what is being read here, there's something unique about it. So the Gemara speaks, what about a case like this? Let's say you stitch many parchments together, and the parchment of the Megillah Esther is either longer or shorter. I mean, it's not uniform with the others. If you look at it, it looks different. It happens to be stitched together. But this seems to be identified because in terms of its length or its shortness, you can see it by itself. The Gemara says that it's valid. That's what it says. And Koram b'tzibor Megillah aksuva ben aksuvim b'kor lo yotze v'im elam ken hoyso yisera al shara yurius or chasero shkedei she'in lo heker. Unless it's what? It extends beyond the other parchments or it's shorter than the other parchments. Aval yochid akoribo. Here, but what about individual? Individual reads from the Megillah afilo ein chasero yisera. That we say that it has to be identified as something unique by itself, that's only if you read it in a tzibur. It's read for the tzibur. But if an individual sees what he's reading, so since he sees visually what he's reading, even though it doesn't have its own identity, that's only, it's written as what? On the parchment, like a Sefer Torah. Okay? Which is obvious. Let's see the Mishna Berura Ches. Because the whole concept is you have to be mefarsim, you have to make the miracle public. The merzi kor b'mikro, mishum hochi, b'yochid korshel avochi like a pesuma, the kol be'asor b'kri tzibor. If you have less than a million, it's not presuming iso. Yiseiru hainu shohisa arucha mishara klofim l'mal l'mato. It extends beyond the other parchments. It's either longer on top or on these. It's some chiddush. I always, when you learn the Gemara, it seems to me it has to be longer on top and the bottom. He says no, either way. Either extends on top beyond the others, or it extends o chasero va'ideze yesh heker la'atzma. Therefore, it's identified by itself. No. This is rabbinical. These are rabbinical laws. Megillah, Sheikh Nekuda. Okay. What about a person puts vowels into the Megillah? Person of Balkori can't get somebody to prepare long enough, and you put all the vowels and all the cantillations in. So when you read it, it's a lot easier. Okay? You ever take a look at Eliot's Megillah when he reads it? It all has vowels in it. He doesn't let anybody look over his shoulder. Okay. Megillah Shi Nekuda. The Megillah which has vowels in it. V'chenim kosova badaf harishon. Brochos piyutim. Hear this? Even has, people have all kinds of artwork on Megillahs. Could you imagine a Sefer Torah have artwork and a Sefer Torah it's not valid? But in a Megillah, if let's say a person has artwork, but he says a person has the brochos, the original, the bracha that the Balkari says, Asher Kedushan Amikru Megillah, and he has Shasanisim, Shechianu, he has it actually written on the same parchment as the Megillah is written on. Or he has a Piyutim, he has Shoshanas Yaakov, written in the Megillah. Einon Nifsels B'kach, doesn't invalidate the Megillah. Does not invalidate it. We'll say Tes. Shinekuda, Vileka, Mishiodea Likros, Bitomim Balpeh. If a person, you can't locate a Balkore who knows the cantellations, what we call the Tami Amikro, by heart, not only could you put in the vowels, you could even put in the cantellations. It's valid to what? To even say a bracha on such a Megillah. The Logora Miliko, putting the Tami Amikro, the cantellations, it's part of the, similar to the punctuation. Mokam Imena Tami Megillah, Muta Likros, below Tomi. Moshe Kosu, Simeon, let's say you have Balkari, he doesn't know the tune. But he knows to read the Megillah properly. Either because he knows the vowels, or because they're in there. And he's not going to read it with a tune or Yotze. Maybe you're only Yotze, if the Balkari reads it with a tune, the Megillah says there. The halachis is if you read the words correctly, B'diavad Yotze. Even if it's written without, it's read, where there's no tune, there's no cantellations. Brachos, L'atchilo Yichto B'chosebo. L'chatchilo, the bracha should not be written. But in fact, it does not invalidate it. Person can't locate a kosher Megillah on for the reading of Megillah. You read it out of a chumash without a bracha. Of course, bracha you can only say a bracha on what? On a valid Megillah. It has to meet all the criteria what Megillah is. Okay. Interesting. That's only if the chumash is made in a roll. It's like a scroll. But the way our chumash are printed, it's printed like a book. It's not even consideration. But he says, nevertheless, it has value. Why? Not because it has any relevance to the mitzvah. Because otherwise, if you don't, let's say you have a community, you have no Megillah. So that means that comes Purim, you'll never read Megillah. People, they'll forget about the whole concept of reading Megillah. Years ago. Today, you don't have such things, but years ago in the country, you had certain communities. I'm talking about, I'm not going back 200 years ago in some village in the mountains in wherever it may be in Russia, in the Carpathian Mountains. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about up in the Catskills. There were certain communities they did not have a minyan on Shabbos. Many communities, they didn't even have a Sefer Torah, and they would get together in a room, and they would read. They wouldn't call up. They would read the parsha out of a chumash. That the people should, at least it had some semblance. You had a feeling of Shabbos. Otherwise, the whole concept of reading, Kriyas Torah, the parsha, they had no feeling of Shabbos. So he says, if you have a community where there's no Megillah, Pri Megadim says, even if it's printed as a book, you say it without a bracha, Shlo Tishtakach Torah's Megillah. Otherwise, you forget about the whole concept of reading a Megillah. Bracha l'matoma. I'm not permitted to say bracha. You can only say bracha if it's a proper reading. Right? If you want to say it from the Chumash Shlo Tishtakach is one thing. It shouldn't be forgotten. But to say bracha, they only enacted the bracha. It's a proper reading. It's not a proper reading. You can't say the bracha. Remember, many years ago, when they had the refuseniks from Russia, and there was a person named Yosef Mendelovich. It was the same time. He was before Sharansky. Before Sharansky came out of Russia. So this Mendelovich, today he's a man probably about 70 years old in Israel, and he was one of the heads of the movement of refuseniks, and they had him in some prison in Russia. You can't imagine, solitary confinement. When he came out, he went and spoke throughout the United States. He came down to Baltimore. He spoke about his experience in prison, and he said that he had a little piece of cloth, wasn't more than 5 by 5 inches. And had a few pieces of string attached to it. That was his talis. He came to the Seder, he went out to the prison yard, and he picked some grass. He ate a few pieces of grass, that was his morah for the Seder. It was all symbolic, because he said, of course he knew it had no value in terms of the mitzvah, but if he wanted to in any way feel attached, he had to have symbolisms which represented whatever the mitzvah was. Otherwise, they would have destroyed him. At least he felt he was still experiencing Judaism, so to say. Even though he understood it was nothing, doesn't make a difference. Like in the concentration camps, they had one pair of tefillin, and they would pass around hundreds of inmates over there. And it was possible, not even a question. And people, they did not say the bracha. Some people did say the bracha on him. Because the Jews felt for their survival, they had to have some connection to their Yiddishkeit, otherwise they would have died. They would have died as a result of hopelessness. Also, same out there's this concept called Tishtaka Torah's Megillah. If you want to retain your Jewishness and have a feel there's something, you have to have some level of connection and attachment.